Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 51 of the Simply Whelmed Podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we've got the show for you.
That's fucking right. We're here, and we got all the news. Dude, we're so fucking swole of knowledge.
Just
my loins, I just can't.
Butts now.
So swollen.
I
gotta see a
knowledge ain't
doctor.
stored in the loins.
I gotta see a doctor.
Yeah. I know so much that my loins are painfully swollen. Like, that's not knowledge, but that's illness. You need to go.
Maybe. You might be onto something.
You might know something I don't. So this week we're talking about the first movie of Marvel's Phase 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But before we do, we have a bit of news to go through. So we have to talk about the following here. We've got I Am Legend sequel news. So that's actually a news story from like our fourth episode, maybe. Yeah. That I remember bringing up, and we got a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. We got trailers for John Wick 4 and Tetris.
Yeah.
We got our first look at Lady Gaga and Joker 2.
Yeah, I did see that.
The Marvels release date is shifting a bit.
Okay.
And Kevin Feige gave an interview with Entertainment Weekly that actually had quite a bit of good, like, Kevin Feige info, I suppose.
Word.
Yeah, because he's usually pretty tight-lipped.
Standoffish.
You know? Yeah. And so I was like, oh, yeah. So I just read through that, and I was
tight-lipped. I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
It is a phrase. I don't know. You're bringing your own thing to it. It's not my fault that it
my
bothers
thing,
you.
your thing, we all got things.
Yeah.
It's just...
We all scream for ice cream, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're ready, let's just dive into it, huh?
Dude, head first.
Yeah. I prefer feet first. So here in the news, we've got Akiva Goldsman, who's the producer and screenwriter of the I Am Legend sequel. Mm-hmm. He revealed to Deadline that the film will feature a significant time jump, where he said like a few decades.
Wow.
And will treat the alternate ending of the original movie as the canon ending.
So where he does live?
Right. Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So people that haven't seen it, you can find it on YouTube now. It's just look up like I Am Legend alternate ending. The original ending is like, they're hiding out in the basement and all the...
He throws the grenade and dies.
Well, he holds the grenade in his hand and just charges into them and, right, and blows up the basement and he dies, right? Well, the alternate ending, it was basically they're all there to get the, like, leader of the vampire creatures, like, girl back, basically.
And he's, like, smashing his head into the shape of a butterfly, which had, like, a tattoo of it on it.
Yeah, and so he kind of notices that they're just here for her. So he, like, opens the doors and just wheels her out to them, and they're all, like, in his face screaming and shit, but they take her and dip, right? And, which I kind of like that ending, because the book I Am Legend is more like they're not monsters. They have their own, like, society, right? And to them, he's the monster, right? Which, when you think about it, yeah, like he kidnapped that woman. Yeah. To them during their sleep cycle, right? So he came at night basically and took their leader, and he's like a boogeyman, right? And that's
because there's not many of people like
him,
Will
left.
Smith, left in the city,
and so that's the whole premise of the book, is like that's why he says I Am Legend, is because to them he's this monster that's just out there. You can't go out during the sunlight, But that's the ending that they're going to treat as canon, and go from there. And so,
honestly, I'm not too upset about it, because I thought the ending was kind of dookie.
Yeah. And I like the alternate ending. So
now I can't remember, in the alternate ending, did he still figure out a cure?
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, right? Is that she's...
'Cause I remember he made a cure in both of them, but one of them he gave him to the girl.
He gives it to the girl and like locks him in like the coal cellar there.
Yeah, okay.
And then that's what he does, the grenade, self-sacrifice thing. But Akiva Goldsman actually mentioned his love for The Last of Us, stating, quote, "I'm obsessed with The Last of Us, where we see the world just post-apocalypse, but also after a 20 to 30-year time lapse, and you see how the Earth reclaims the world. And there's something beautiful in the question of, as man steps away from being the primary tenant, what happens? That will be especially visual in New York, I think. I don't know if they'll climb up to the Empire State Building, but the possibilities are endless." And Goldsman also mentioned that the sequel will lean more into the Richard Matheson novel, telling Deadline, quote, "We trace back to the original Matheson book and the alternate ending as opposed to the released ending in the original film. What Matheson was talking about was that man's time on the planet as the dominant species had come to an end, and that's a really interesting thing we're going to get to explore. There'll be a little more fidelity to the original text."
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, and it's going to have Michael B. Jordan and Will Smith both starring in it, and so I'm excited to see that. And I'm pretty sure Michael B. Jordan is producing as well.
Oh, nice.
Like I said, we got the official trailer for Tetris on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
And it stars Taron Egerton as the Dutch entrepreneur Hank Rogers, who brought the Soviet-developed video game to an international audience. And I didn't know anything about, like, the story behind.
No, I just thought it was a game that was made and kind of, here you go.
Yeah, and it's like, was the most popular. Is it still the best-selling game of all time, or did Minecraft take that from Tetris?
Jamie pulled that up. I'm Jamie.
Yeah, you're Jamie in this scenario. Is Tetris the best-selling game of all time? Oh my God, look at those spry little fingers, just dancing on that teeth.
Tetris at 520 million.
Jesus. Yeah,
for a video game.
Yep. So, like I said, I didn't know anything about this story, but I definitely did not expect it to look as compelling as it does. Right? Or like,
it does.
It turns out the story behind Tetris is like a Cold War espionage thriller.
Yeah, and he damn near loses his life for this game.
Yeah,
from what it looks like.
Yeah. That's the premise. Like he was in real like bodily harm, or risk. The tagline of the movie kind of acknowledges how outlandish the story is by saying like the game you couldn't put down and the story you couldn't make up.
Yeah,
where it's like it's just this Dutch entrepreneur who's like he played this game. It seems like maybe he played it on a machine in Russia.
Yeah, because it was like just from the trailer, it looked like they were like green dots, and it wasn't quite the color yet or anything like that.
And he was like, "Man, I really like that was an addictive game." Like he says something like, "I played it for 5 minutes, and I see falling blocks in my sleep."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I've gotta like it's the perfect game,"
because there is something about like how almost like
it's satisfying.
The satisfaction in like
getting everything to line up, and it all drops. You're like, "Oh my God." And he's basically trying to shop it around, and it seems like the teeing off point is Nintendo's like, "Hey, we got something to show you. We're making something that only like 10 other people have seen so far, and it's called the Game Boy." And his pitch is, "You should ship Tetris with it."
And they're like, "Can you get the rights?
If you can get us the rights, we'll do it." And so then he goes on this, like, literally he has to go into Cold War Russia, and Russia's kind of at a spot where their video games are becoming the thing, and their whole thing is, this could be Russia's claim to video game film, right? It's like, we're going to put our mark on this. And so they really don't want him to come in and capitalize, a communist invention, right? And and it seems like a pretty like intense story. Like,
there's a couple like really good action scenes where they're driving and it's a split second in it, but he gets on the sidewalk and like there's a real tight window for him. Yeah, and it looks like it's pretty upbeat. So I'm excited to see scenes like that in there.
Yeah, and I like combining like the Tetris music, with the final countdown and how they mesh those two together. Really kind of leaning into that 80s feel. But and then we also got the final trailer for John Wick 4. Yeah. Which, it's just Keanu Reeves doing a bunch of gun fu. He's doing his judo and shit.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Because I thought the first one was beautiful.
The first one's a very good
Very good film. Second one,
not bad.
It wasn't bad, but I didn't like it as...
The third one, I thought the third one was my least favorite.
I liked it.
The third one I felt was too samey.
Too samey?
Yeah, where it's like, I've seen John Wick, and this is just more John Wick.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get that. But I thought
it does feel a little exhaustive, I think.
I think it's more interesting in the sense of you get to find out more lore other than John Wick. The fact that, no fighting on continental grounds, anything like that. And then seeing more of, like, the Russian ballerinas that he kind of was able to get in with, but he had to get burnt to do it. So it's stuff like that. At this point, I'm more interested not of John Wick, but just of the world itself.
I know that at one point in time, there was a series that was going to be made about the Continental,
which I would really like.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's still in production or not.
I heard a rumor that there's going to be a John Wick game.
That wasn't a rumor. I told you that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On this podcast, actually. Yeah, that was news that we had. So, and then the other thing is, I know that they're making that ballerina spin-off. That's
which, again, I think would be really cool. I thought the lore behind that was outstanding.
Ana de Armas.
I think that'd be really fucking cool.
We get to see Donnie Yen in this trailer with his katana.
Yeah.
Chopping some people up. And he's all slick, got his hair slicked back, and he's wearing a suit, and he's got his sunglasses on. And he just looks cool. I love Donnie Yen from. Have you ever seen the Ip Man movies? Ip Man, they're really solid action, like kung fu movies. And he's a very good martial artist. But then he's also, I can't think of the character's name. Maybe Chirrup from Rogue One with the staff.
Oh, okay.
The monk, basically.
I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me.
Yeah, that's Donnie Yen.
Blind.
But I am interested to see if or how they mix it up, because kind of like I said, John Wick. It's when you've seen the first one, you get the premise, right? You know,
I'm hoping that
I'm gonna fist fight this guy and then give him 2 shots to the chest, 1 to the head, right? And that's.
I will say for people who have seen it, like religiously, like I have.
Yeah.
There is a scene where, and I pointed it out to you. He is at the hierarchy back in the desert, and he pulls a gun on him.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big deal.
No.
So. That's a pretty big deal. So I'm excited to see how that pans.
The understanding that we've come to is that there's going to be a 5th movie. Is that right? And that was going to be the last one.
Yeah. So either, I don't know. I could see them maybe breaking this up into 2 parts, but I feel like, man, that's a lot of action to drag on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because action itself is meant to be fast, like moving, right? Moving forward. The closing shots look pretty interesting to me, though. It's like a set piece taking place in it looks like maybe a European roundabout, like a busy road, and doing the gun fu and fist fighting and stuff, and people are getting hit by cars and shit while they're trying to
get through.
Yeah, can't wait to see that one. It's on March 24th, and Tetris is on March 31st, and that one's only on Apple TV Plus.
Okay,
so if you don't have Apple TV Plus, sorry, get good. I don't know what to tell you. Pirate it. No, don't do that. I cannot advocate
for legal reasons. That was a joke.
Yeah, exactly. So on Valentine's Day, Todd Phillips posted a photo from filming on the Joker sequel, Folie à Deux, right? And it gave us our first look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Did you see the photo? The photo shows Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck with his clown makeup. He's all painted up, seemingly having just planted a big kiss on a crazed Harley Quinn because she's got the red lipstick all over her mouth.
She's looking at him starstruck.
Yeah, she's got just big eyes. Lady Gaga's a good actress. She was really good in, obviously, I really enjoyed her in A Star Is Born, but also Hotel, I think, was the season that she was in of
for
American Horror Story. And she was really good in that.
I haven't seen A Star Is Born. I know
it's a very good movie.
It's really good. I want to get on that. But I did see a couple episodes of her in American Horror Story, and it is Hotel, and it's really good. Yeah. Now, she's a good actress.
Yeah, and so, that doesn't always pan out when you have a musician transitioning into acting, And so I think it's cool that, this one's worked out.
Who is it? Is it Jamie Foxx, who's he's he's a good comedian, talented actor, talented musician, and what is it where you're trying to do all 4 of an
EGOT? Yeah. Where you get an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony?
I think Jamie Foxx should try for that.
Yeah.
He could do it.
I don't know if he's done any
stage work. He just have to do Broadway. Or not Broadway per se, but...
Yeah. Either musical or just stage acting. Something to think about. Yeah, I don't know if he has. So let's see here. And I just Phillips just captured the photo. Happy Valentine's Day. And it's just this crazy couple. I will be interested to see, if they kind of emphasize the negative aspects of that relationship, where they're not a healthy couple, right?
Yeah.
I
don't know. This version of Joker is so different,
right,
than everything else. I could see them going either way, of them being almost like a Bonnie and Clyde, just both of them being fucking nuts,
right?
Or I could also see them focusing on how unhealthy of a relationship. On that,
he's not a good dude. And he's manipulating the piss out of her, and she's unstable, right? And he's taking advantage of that.
So, I'd be excited for either or.
Yeah.
I feel like
they could probably do a combo of the two.
They could have. They could. I've seen a lot of stuff of people not getting hyped for Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And I'm I'm here for it. I'm here for it, yeah.
Now, the thing that I'm curious about is them making it a musical. Remember that was the thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still here for it. There was music and dancing in the first one. There was just that bathroom scene. So, if you do something similar to that, sure. And even if you break away from it, if you can make it
song and dance,
if you make it work, you make it work.
Dance numbers,
because that's the whole thing. They're both clinically insane and unstable. So, I don't see what the big deal is. Oh my
She's mad dogging you.
Colin's dog is just eyeing me down like I haven't paid my fucking taxes.
Yeah, she's like, where's my fucking money, asshole?
Where's the fucking money, shithead?
Yeah, it's down there somewhere. Let me take another look.
Take another look.
Yeah, where's the money, Lebowski? So The Marvels has been delayed from July 28th of this year to November 10th. They did, however, give us a look at the official poster for the film to tide us over until then. So the poster was kind of nice. It was just like Kamala Khan on the ground, and then Carol Danvers, and then Monica Rambeau. And it said like higher, further, faster, together. All right, cool, whatever. But it does seem to tie into some like maybe a strategy that Kevin Feige kind of gave a little insight into in this interview that I was talking about. That leads us into that last piece of news where he had an Entertainment Weekly interview, and I think it was for like part of the press junket for Quantumania, where Entertainment Weekly always does their big like covers, and he actually had quite a bit of good info. So these are I just picked highlights out. So starting at the top, apparently Kamala Khan is like a scene stealer in the Marvels, with Feige saying that Kamala Khan, for instance, is a great new character in the Pantheon. I'm very proud of them as Marvel show. I also know, and this is a spoiler, she essentially steals the Marvels, which is coming out in November, he says. Yeah, I know that Aman Vellani and Kevin Feige have like a pretty good relationship as far as like, she straight up, as soon as she got the job, was like kind of going in on it of like, all right, you gotta give me the fucking scoop. First of all, why are there no mutants yet? Second of all, why are they? And like she's like got a notebook of Kevin Feige questions because she's an MCU fan, and so she's like, all right, here's this, and so I do wonder if that plays a part of like he's got a little bit of a bias towards her because he likes her.
And honestly, I think actors and actresses like that have more passion and do better.
Yeah, because I mean, she definitely, like, there were a lot of problems with Ms. Marvel, but she was not one of them.
Like, you can tell, like, a perfect example, not granted, it's probably going to jump from Marvel to Star Wars.
Yeah.
A really good example is, like, honestly, whenever I see Mark Hamill, like, even in the newer ones, I wasn't a big fan of him.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill still has that passion.
Yeah.
Right? And you can kind of tell. But with, like, what was it from the Solo movie? Was it, what's his name? Woody Harrelson? No, not Woody Harrelson. Was it? No.
Woody Harrelson, who plays his mentor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just that scene where he's like, damn it, she's never going to let me live this down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ooh, how big is that paycheck got to be, pal?
Right. Yeah. Really? You couldn't get paid enough to act?
Yeah,
you just
put a little
really,
lymph on it, man.
Really phone it in like high school plays, know?
Man. So, like, but I'm a big fan of, like, actors and actresses doing that, having notes. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, and I feel like a lot of people think that there are.
Yeah. And it's like, no, she knows this stuff. And if she can challenge Kevin Feige from like that doesn't make sense as a fan standpoint, then okay, that's good.
That's good for us.
Yeah. In that same section of the interview, Feige casually mentions that the book is not closed on Moon Knight, saying, I think there's a future for that character as we move forward. And that was really all he kind of said, but he specifically brought up Moon Knight. He was like, Moon Knight's another good example. I think there's a future for that character.
God, there is. If they stop, I would be so upset.
You getting teary-eyed?
A little bit, man. Moon Knight's one of my favorites. I told you, I think he's topping Iron Man. I love the concept of Moon Knight.
All right, man. Fucking relax. Feige, all right, stop. Feige addressed the concerns that have been coming up regarding the sheer volume of Marvel projects, saying, quote, it is harder to hit the zeitgeist when there's so much product out there and so much, and he puts in quotes, content, as they say, which is a word that I hate. And then he laughs. And he says, but we want Marvel Studios and the MCU projects to really stand out and stand above. So people will see that as we get further into phase 5 and 6, the pace at which we're putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so they can each get a chance to shine. And the interviewer actually asked a follow-up saying, so when you say the pace will change, do you mean spacing them out or putting out fewer shows a year? To which Feige replied simply, both, I think. And so they're just starting to dial back on the stuff that they're ranking.
There has been a lot of shows that came out.
Too much coming out at once and stuff gets overshadowed, gets missed maybe, where you're like, I got to start budgeting my time.
They had it perfectly lined up in the beginning where Loki started, and then what was it? As soon as Loki finished or was it Moon Knight first, then Loki?
No. Moon Knight came out this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this past year. WandaVision was the first show that came out.
Yeah, but didn't they have like WandaVision came out, then as soon as WandaVision finished, Loki came out?
Just about. I think there was like a couple weeks between them.
Which I think is a perfect time frame.
I think they should fucking stop. No. I mean, I think I agree that they need to put out, like, they could get away with doing 2 shows a year.
Yeah.
Like, You have one in the fall or the spring, and then in the other end of the.
But just make them longer. Take some, put some more time into them.
Right.
Quality.
And so Feige potentially would like to see the shows become more episodic and less, quote, 8-hour movie like. Saying, yes, cliffhangers are great, and I like watching a show where you should go to bed, but you see the cliffhanger and you just have to watch the next episode. You certainly want to keep people engaged, but I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I still find it soothing to watch an episode of Next Gen with a beginning and an end. So I think we're going to keep experimenting with that going forward. Mm-hmm. So, and he kind of referenced She-Hulk of like trying something totally different there of like, what if we just did a legal drama but had an expensive CG character in the middle of it, right? And he really liked, he said that he really liked She-Hulk of like being She-Hulk. Something different. He likes throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what works. And like he said, when you're putting out that many shows, they have to be different. Mm-hmm. They can't all be the same because that's how you get.
Yeah, then people are just not going to watch them.
Tune in, right? It's got to be, what does this offer that doesn't, right? Mm-hmm. The interview does take a turn to the subject of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and James Gunn's new job as the co-CEO at DC, asking Feige what the conversation was like between the pair when Gunn got that job. And Feige said, it was not dissimilar to when we talked about him doing the Suicide Squad. I said, that's awesome, and I can't wait to see it. I've never been shy about loving those characters. I had Superman posters all over my walls in my childhood bedroom, and I went to work for the Donners, Richard Donner and Lauren Schuler Donner, because of Superman. The notion of those characters being in such good hands with James is exciting, and it's very cool. After he finishes Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, of course, and he laughs. And that's true. I mean, I know that when Richard Donner passed, because Richard Donner made the first Superman movie, and Kevin Feige was all on social media and putting out a statement basically of like, this like my job doesn't exist if this man doesn't do what he did, just from like a personal passion standpoint, and then also a career or like an industry standpoint of, obviously, superhero movies can be made and work, and it gave him as a little kid, like, my God, Superman is on the screen, right? And, like, I could do that, right? And so, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any, like, some fans of the comics have, like, a DC stands for dumb comics, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, they can both be good, right? Then just some rapid-fire highlights here. So, the fact that Blade is set to start filming in the next 10 weeks or so, he says. Filming for Captain America New World Order is set to start filming relatively soon as well. And the Thunderbolts, where he talked about they had several like irons in the fire all at once right now. Getting ready to just churn some stuff out. They apparently have a story for the next Spider-Man film.
Okay.
But they're just now starting the scripting on that. So they had like the story set. Now they're actually putting it into a script. And the Daredevil series will be more in the vein of that episodic television like Feige was expressing interest in before of like, there's a beginning, middle, and end to each episode. Right? Where this is one adventure of Daredevil. And this is another adventure of Daredevil.
I like when TV shows can do that, but also put like an underlying, main plot you don't necessarily have to follow,
right?
But if you want it to all make sense and really have that impact, you gotta watch.
Or you have like a 3-episode arc where it's like tune in next week for the finale of the whatever this villain is, or right. And his most anticipated product that isn't getting enough attention according to him is Fantastic Four. That's the one that's coming up that he's like. he's excited for Fantastic Four, but he's also got a lot of personal interest in Fantastic Four, considering he started working with Marvel on the X-Men movies and the Fantastic Four movies from the early 2000s, as well as from a comic standpoint. Basically, modern Marvel comics started with Fantastic Four, and so he's really excited to see how that's going to shift everything,
pan into it,
and I like that he is a big nerd, I mean, that's
what you want to see when it comes to stuff like this. You don't want to see somebody who's not.
Right. I mean, he references Star Trek a lot. I've caught that in like a lot of his interviews and stuff. He references Star Trek.
I've never seen Star Trek. Not once. I know I can do the thing. the Spock,
the Vulcan. Yeah, live long and prosper. All right, let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dude, we're scooting right along. We're at 27 minutes. This might be a short episode. So, sorry, peeps.
It's too structured.
Yeah, right, yeah. We're too good at this now. It's become too efficient. So the box office here. Domestically, it made $120 million, and worldwide it's at $259.3 million on a budget of $200 million. So it's making its money back. The reception from Rotten Tomato critics, it's got a 47%.
Yeah.
It's only the second MCU film to be considered rotten. And the other one is The Eternals, which I believe also has a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But the audience score.
Yeah. The audience score is an 84. On IMDb, it's got a 6.6 out of 10. And on Metacritic, it's got a 48. But yeah, so there's kind of like a flip-flop back and forth there between the critics and the audience of like, fans seem to enjoy it more than the critics did. Like by a lot. Cast and crew here. We've got Peyton Reed, who's returning to direct. He's directed the other two Ant-Man films. Paul Rudd, obviously, is Scott Lang. Evangeline Lilly is back as Hope. Catherine Newton, this is her first foray as Cassie Lang. Michelle Pfeiffer is Janet Van Dyne. Michael Douglas is Hank Pym. And Jonathan Majors is Kang the Conqueror. So, you got a synopsis over there, bub? How are you not ready, dude?
Superhero partners Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne return to continue their adventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp, together with Hope's parents Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym, and Scott's daughter Cassie Lang. Sorry, I got a stuffy nose. And Cassie Lang. The family finds themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, embarking on the adventure that will push them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible.
That's right. That's pretty much what I got.
Yeah.
Did you write that one yourself?
No, courtesy to Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
because I just had everything pulled up because I was looking at the cast and crew with you, and then you said synopsis, and I was like, movie info is right above.
Yeah, right there.
Perfect
There we go.
timing.
Yeah. So the one from IMDb says Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. So yeah, same premise, right? So we'll start off the top there. What were your spoiler-free plot thoughts?
Yeah, so as far as, I'm going to go through, I have a couple things I wanted to talk about. It had a really good flow.
Okay.
I don't think there was anything that felt like it was dragging.
Okay.
Even the parts that were slower throughout it in the beginning still felt like the knowledge I'm obtaining is going to play an effect later in the movie.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about more in spoilers of what exactly I'm talking about. But no, I just feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities, like with Lord Krylarm.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that they could have done that they didn't, which we'll talk about later into spoilers.
Yeah.
But as far as the story, the concept of like getting to know Kang, and just the continuation of Scott himself for like, him being Avenger, like, what are you doing now?
Right, yeah.
It feels very on beat of, that's Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Letting it go to his head.
Right.
Yeah.
But taking that and keep going to of characters, like dipping into that.
Yeah.
I loved all the characters.
Can I give my plot thoughts?
No. Seeing all the... yeah.
I just knock the burning candle towards you. Hot wax all over your belly and chest fair. And you're just... no, so I felt that the first third or so was a bit of a drag, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they have to take a lot of time explaining, like you're talking, what the quantum realm is and everything like that. And I do think it just slows the movie down going out of the gate. Where, like, they could have probably... Like, there's a lot... Without getting into too much spoiler, there's a lot of... I'll explain that to you later. Now let's walk. And then it's like, well, you can explain and walk. You know what I mean? And so they could have...
That's something I wanted to talk about in my notes.
Yeah. The special effects were a bit iffy at times, I thought. Especially towards the beginning, because I feel like towards the end they kind of level out a bit more.
You can see it in the trailer, so it's not technically a spoiler, really. No. But the part where you see a bunch of the Ant-Man, a bunch of Scots running around, there's a couple parts in there in the movie that the CGI is bad. Yeah,
there's a few times where just like the suit itself, you can tell is like painted on, of like it looks like Paul Rudd's head is floating on an Ant-Man body.
My biggest thing was the green screen behind. You could you could just tell
that they're not there.
Yeah,
right. I think it took its time introducing Kang, but once it did, it was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
The editing is kind of jumpy at the beginning as well, specifically with what I'm talking there of like we got to move. I'll explain later. And there's a specific scene that I'll talk about in
Spoilers.
where it's like you're cutting back and forth. It feels like two scenes got cut in the middle and then interspliced, where you're jumping back and forth between the two.
I'm curious to see what scenes you're talking about.
And then the third act, really strong.
Yeah.
Like the action set piece towards the end. Like, Marvel
Excellent.
knows how to do an action scene, right? I said it feels like a 2-hour episode of Rick and Morty, which makes sense because one of the lead writer worked on Rick and Morty. So that's kind of his
specialty.
Yeah, his style.
To be able to work on like multiversal kind of stuff.
So you want to talk about characters and chemistry there, Chris?
Absolutely. Starting off with Scott and Hope.
Yeah.
The chemistry was still there. Obviously, they felt good. The chemistry between Cassie and Scott. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I didn't write anything about that one specifically because I am in a toss-up of two different perspectives.
Okay.
One of them is Cassie is becoming kind of like that angsty teen. So she's starting to disobey Scott a little more. So I understand that aspect of it. But also, just from all the prior movies, Scott and Cassie were like tight.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so I don't know. I'm not.
He was also gone for 5 years.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Pretty crucial years too, as far as development goes.
But as far as like still having that chemistry, you can see like, Scott obviously feels bad for missing those 5 years. You know, and there are times where he's talking to her and she's like, you weren't here.
Right. And it's not his fault.
Right. But you can kind of see it. He does a really good job of making it look like
hurts.
That takes a toll, but he can't be mad at Cassie because it's not her fault. Like you were saying.
Yeah, it's neither their fault.
So I thought the relationship between them was really, really good.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Janet. I can't stand that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I wish she died.
Yeah.
First off. What?
Maybe she does.
Oh, I meant the actress. No.
I want Michelle Pfeiffer to burn in hell. Yeah.
No.
Her and Nicole Kidman, you know?
Get out of here! No, but kind of going back to what you were saying, you're bad. No, I really don't like her character. A lot of the plot holes is just her avoiding the question of, what's going on
down here?
Yeah, like just tell me what the fuck is up. And she's like, ow, ow.
Yeah, she's fucking annoying. I want to punch her in the head.
I will say, and I'm going to sound like a complete fuckhead for this. Like, whenever there's a dramatic scene, she gives a smolder instead of just giving a normal look, where she has just like that small opening on her mouth where like she's looking very, like trying to look majestic. I can't fucking stand it, dude. Yeah. Like, you're in the middle of a battle, you're not trying to pull a smolder.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's from the stroke she had.
Nuh-uh.
No, I'm fucking
I was like, she had a stroke. We were making fun of her. How the fuck?
As soon as you started in on it, I was like, I'm going to tell him she had a stroke.
No, but I don't know why, but that got on my nerves. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's a small thing.
Yeah, I'm not even going to count it. But yeah, no, I did not like her character in this, especially from the second, getting her back.
Yeah.
It just feels like
we got her back for this shit.
Yeah, two very different people.
Send her back.
Yeah. Hank, I still really liked. Hank felt very on character with all of his moments and cues he had. I guess we'll start talking about Lord Krylar in spoilers because that would probably be a little easier. But there is a lot of stuff I wanted to touch up on his character. Same with Modak.
Yeah, Modoc.
Yeah, Modak.
Mo Dick, you know me.
But as far as Kang, badass.
Yeah.
Like, love his character.
Yeah.
I put in my notes, the exact word was a great villain to follow up on Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos. Hate us because they Thanos.
Yeah, man.
From Thanos. But yeah, no, I really like Kang, and I want to let you talk, and then we'll talk more about it.
Yeah. So I said that a movie with "and the Wasp" in the title really did not have anything for the Wasp to do.
Not really.
Like, she's barely in this movie. I bet she has.
There's one scene that really sticks out to me, and that's
pretty much it.
I would say the story is mainly about Cassie and Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they just didn't have anything for her to do, and didn't come up with anything for her to do.
I don't think there would have been a problem if they just labeled it Ant-Man Quantumania. Like, it doesn't have to be "and the Wasp."
No. Well, but they kind of tie themselves into a corner of like making the second one Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's still in this movie, right? And it's like, well, why are you taking the Wasp out? What's the thing there? You know what I mean? And so they just kind of had themselves stuck in a corner of like, well, it can either be an Ant-Man and the Wasp situation, or
I guess that's right.
But Janet Van Dyne, I said it's just so fucking annoying. The chemistry between Catherine Newton and Paul Rudd as father and daughter, I thought was believable. Mm-hmm. Something that I noticed about Kang was that he has like a really slow way of speaking and moving, like when he first shows up, and I liked it. I said it felt to me like a deliberate choice by Jonathan Majors of like, I can take my time with this conversation because time is no time at all, right? Yeah. And I kind of like that. Of like, this guy's very methodical in the way he speaks. Hank Pym, I think, kind of gets the Hope Van Dyne treatment as well. Of like, he takes a back seat for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, I really like
Michael Douglas.
Right.
You got like a pretty grade A actor, and you're like,
just not.
No, man.
There is a scene, and we definitely have to talk about it in spoilers.
Yeah.
I did not like, and it's a specific scene with Hank.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that later because it's pretty heavily spoiled.
Okay. I said that Majors and Paul Rudd were both the brightest spots in the movie for me, but that Catherine Newton wasn't like something to scoff at either. I thought she kind of carried some weight as far as, like you said, it's mostly about Scott and Cassie, and she does a very good job of being a co-star.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you've got Jonathan Majors up there doing what he's doing as Kang,
don't matter.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stop playing. Get out of here.
Give me one here. I'll tear it up live.
And then the last thing I said for characters and chemistry was that I think the inclusion of MODOK was an interesting choice for an Ant-Man movie. But I found him entertaining. But I do see that his character could probably be pretty divisive for some people.
Yeah.
And that's all I can really say about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it because I do want to talk about MODOK.
Yeah. So how do we rate stuff around here?
Of course, you can either be overwhelmed, which means you were thoroughly enjoyed with the film. Expectations were surpassed. You can be underwhelmed, which means you really didn't like the film and didn't meet the expectations. Or you can always meet right in the middle and be simply whelmed.
How are you?
I was simply whelmed.
Yeah, I was simply whelmed.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I think in some of the more stuff that they've made recently is probably a little higher up there.
Yeah. But overall,
it wasn't.
It's not in the top 5.
No.
I don't know that it's in the top 10.
I'm kind of considering, since it is only the first movie of Q5, I am backing it up with a lot of Q4 movies. Or Phase 4. I was thinking...
Does that work?
Huh?
Does that work?
Yeah.
Lingo?
Yeah. That's, yeah. Of Phase 4 and Phase 5, since it only, I'm looking at a lot with Phase 4. And even then...
Yeah,
there were some pretty rough movies in there, and
Yeah.
it's still not at the top, just from some of the ones that I was looking at. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's very middle of the pack for me. I could see it being one that if it wasn't for Jonathan Majors, if it wasn't for having Kang in it, I don't know that it'd be a memorable movie.
I could definitely, I definitely see myself strictly YouTubing
Kang scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scenes with Kane.
Yeah. So do you have just like your full spoilers over there?
Yeah. So as far as spoilers, starting off, the first thing I wanted to put, I'm in love with Scott Lang's Baskin Robbins variant.
Yeah. There's just a dude who just never left that job.
No, he's got it still, man. He's there.
And so he never becomes Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And he's just a Baskin Robbins employee.
Yeah, that's it. But starting from like the top, when Cassie and Hank are talking about, sending the signal to the quantum realm, because that's how that's how they get sucked down there, is Cassie's trying to
basically build a map, like a radar.
See what's going on in the quantum realm without actually going in.
Yeah.
And Janet gets all flustered about it, and she's like, why didn't you tell me?
But I do like that Hope calls her out. She's like, I fucking tried, Mom.
We've tried.
And you shut us down.
Yeah,
So fuck you.
Which you think right then and there would be a learning lesson very early on in the movie for when they ask what's going on later.
You should fucking be forthright.
They would answer. No, so yeah, but that problem keeps coming up of them just asking what's going on. She's not giving the answer. And that just makes me hate the character. I loved Janet when she first came back because I was
just makes you want to strike her.
Yes, I'm like, dude, just tell us what's fucking going on. This isn't fucking grade school, dude. You don't keep secrets like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like everything just could have been avoided if she said
Should
that.
have just been,
Honest.
Yeah.
Like, I get not wanting to talk about it, but, like, when you hit a point where, like, we're in the quantum realm.
Right.
What the fuck's going on?
Right. Yeah. You've lived here for
30 years?
Right. If not more.
Yeah.
So what the fuck's going on here?
But then, yeah, dude, my blood gets a little boiled thinking about it.
You wanted to talk about Krylar?
And then I did want to talk about Krylar. So in their journey, Janet is like, I know a guy. All right, and we'll go talk to him, and he'll get us out of here. We'll be good. And so they go to what seems to be like this bar, and something I wanted to make noteworthy that I really, really enjoyed is there is this juice or a beverage, I should say.
Of like when you drink it, it translates.
But it's a slime, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like that concept of when Scott and Cassie, crash landed.
Yeah.
And they were more in a, not necessarily uncivilized, but not as modern.
Yeah,
I
it feels
should say.
much more like tribal.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They have this big cauldron.
Yeah.
Of
it feels like he's about to be sacrificed.
Yeah,
or
but they call it ooze.
Yeah.
Drink the ooze.
Drink the ooze.
And so they're able to drink that, and we find out it's from the holeless guy.
Yeah, the dude who has no
holes. But then rather than in the very modern section where Janet, Hank, and Hope are, it is like a little shot glass that you're able to take. And I thought that was really interesting to show like the diversity of like, even though they're all in the quantum realm, you got people, that are still in tribes. You got people up here that have like, spaceships.
Yeah,
and
they're gambling.
Yeah,
they've got
it's just a vast,
a wide.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that concept of it.
Now, that scene with Scott being, drink the ooze, right, is one of the scenes that I'm talking about getting cut in half with being cut in half and then interspliced with Hope and Hank and Janet being like, we got to keep moving, hide, don't stay down, right, or whatever.
Again, I didn't like that scene either when she just basically put her arms around Hope and Hank.
Yeah.
They weren't hiding.
Right.
They were behind a tree that had no fucking leaves.
Yeah.
And the lights just went right past them. And she's just, I'm here.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, are you just camouflage?
Right. But that scene gets cut in with, Scott and Cassie meeting that tribe. And, Scott's like, where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? And she goes, drink the ooze, Dad. And then it just cuts away and to whatever Hank and Hope and Janet are doing. And then cuts back. And he's still on his knees there where it's like, you could have just let that scene play out.
Just play it out real quick.
Right. It's like almost mid-experience, right? And you're like,
it just throws off the whole the vibe.
I don't know what's happening. It feels like I'm jumping around as opposed to flowing. Yeah, sorry. You go ahead.
No,
you had asked. You were curious what scene. I was like, That's the scene.
As far as like with Krylar, I love the fact that Bill Murray played Krylar. Yeah. I thought it was a cool concept. He just seems like kind of a rich dude who has got a little bit of power.
Like they were freedom fighters.
Yeah,
but he and Janet, and now however much time has passed.
Yeah, he's changed.
He's a company man with Kang.
But just Krylar straight up telling Janet like. Oh, or not Janet, Hank.
I used to fuck your wife.
Yeah, like hard. like he straight up said like a lot.
Yeah.
And Hank's like, I get it. Like,
all right, easy, man.
I had a fling too. Like I'm not holding to press you. Yeah. But Krylar was like, he's like, gripping on the table. And
he's over
like,
there biting his bottom lip.
Why don't you and I go down memory road? He's fucking biting his lip.
Yeah.
But then they just kill him. Yeah. Like really quick. And I thought there was a lot of cool, especially since we know he's a freedom fighter.
Right.
I'd love to see some of their stories. Right. Make me not hate Janet as much.
Yeah.
I think it was just a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
They could have shown any of the story. It doesn't have to be like a full scene, not even a spinoff, just something more than just, I used to fuck your wife and I'm pretty badass, but I'm not anymore. Yeah. Right. Kill me. So, I really want to see that, especially since they got such a big name like Bill Murray to play that character for a total of 4 minutes, maybe max.
Now my understanding though is that Bill Murray's kind of a tool to work for or with.
Really?
And so it's probably a blessing that they're like, you get one scene and then you're done.
I didn't know he was a tool.
Oh yeah, he's a big fuck. Yeah, like he's not allowed back at SNL.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah, right. So he might have been the one that was like, I'll show up for the paycheck and do one day, but it better be a 1 day thing. You know what I mean? Or they were like, well, if we're getting Bill Murray, we're just going to do one day because we don't want to have
Yeah,
to
we're not trying to
hang out with him.
Well, dipping into MODOK.
Yeah.
MODOK.
Doc. Yeah.
MODOK.
Yeah. What does that stand for? What does that stand for?
Ooh, machine. No.
Mechanized organism.
Made for killing.
Designed only for killing.
Designed only for killing, yeah.
Because remember, Ant-Man goes,
We
would that be
shouldn't-
MODOK?
Yeah. And he's like, but I like MODOK's character a lot.
I like his
honestly.
intro.
Yeah.
Of like,
Darren?
Yeah, well, of like him rolling in and just destroying that refugee camp.
Yeah.
I mean, killing a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck. And then it just slips up and it's just Darren Cross's bulbous head and his baby legs. What does Ant-Man say? It looks like a Bjorn. It looks like he's just in a baby Bjorn. He goes, what's with the baby legs? He goes, I don't have baby legs.
Baby legs?
So yeah, it looks like a Bjorn. That's why I said I think his character will be divisive, is because like MODOK is a mechanized organism designed only for killing, right? And he does a lot of killing at the beginning, and then he just kind of turns into a punchline.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to talk about. I really like the concept of him, but especially when it came to him chasing Cassie later in the scenes, he doesn't land a single shot. I'm like, there's no way, because when he was doing, killing everyone in the refuge camp, his guns were spinning, like locking aim, and he wasn't missing a single shot. And it's just like, how do you start off with that and then flub it?
And I think they did the same thing to Kang.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Plot armor is really intense in this movie. Of like, you got to find a way around, a writing trick around.
You need, like, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, the hero getting the shit beat out of him in the very beginning. Like, when you first are introduced to it. Yeah. Because, like, if they made it where Kang comes in, right, and he, like...
Well, I'm talking about towards the end.
Sure.
With Kang.
Sure. But I'm just saying, like, even still, like, with just the concept of having them so badass when you're introduced to them, but then as soon as the action comes in with the main character, they just overpower them.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not, I feel like, even if it's one of those where it's like...
I mean, I think about the fight with Iron Man and Thanos on...
All that for a drop of blood, quite literally.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, it was just another missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But Kang does fuck him up towards the end, which I think should have been...
hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, which I think should have been earlier in the movie.
Jonathan Majors forgot it was Ant-Man, and he just started thinking he was in Creed again, and was just beating the shit out of him.
Laying the body shots.
Yeah, I mean, like, breaking shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he break his shoulder? Or at least cranks it hard enough to hurt him.
Yeah, it makes it crack.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
But dude, that scene where he jumps down from the
his
balcony,
citadel, and is starting to fight off the rebellion,
and just has that big old shield, and people just
get thrown away, get disintegrated, and then he's got his beams and he's just mowing people down. It's basically an eraser. Just
and then who is he's like that big humanoid. He's got the cylinder head.
Pathfinder from Apex.
Yeah, dude, he looks dope.
And he's got
the big laser
for a head,
and then he just kills him with his own
blows
laser.
His head up. Yeah, he puts the laser back into the dude's head and explodes it. I was like, "Fuck, that's brutal."
Yeah, he kills him hard. But the only scene where Hope really is has a big role.
Yeah.
Is when Ant-Man's trying to get the orb.
The multiversal engine, I think is what it's called.
Something like that Kang needs, because he's trying to make a deal with him. So
yeah.
What was the deal?
The deal was basically, I'll give you the time back. I'll put you back. You never left.
Yeah.
You'll get those years back with Cassie if you get me that engine. Right. Because you've come to find out, once Janet finally starts fucking spilling the beans, she met Kang down there and helped him repair his multiversal engine. And then figures out that he's a conqueror. This dude's killed off entire timelines and shit, and she destroys his core.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what his meaning behind everything is there's so many variants that it's getting out of hand, and he wants to destroy everything and have one timeline.
He basically wants to be like He Who Remains at the end of time.
Yeah.
Except if He Who Remains was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a more...
Which I think is a good arc to have. It's one of those where it's like you don't agree with it, but you can understand the variance of time getting out of control.
Yeah.
It's a little more drastic than I think Thanos.
Yeah.
As far as like
Thanos wants to kill half of all life.
Right.
And then at the end he wants to kill all life and start over.
Yeah.
And
it is just kind of one of those where it's like you can see where the good intent was.
Yeah.
And it's just quickly corrupted.
Yeah.
By
or just
he's letting the intrusive thoughts win.
Yeah, or like at one point, I think it's Janet says to him like trillions will die, and he basically goes, I don't care.
Yeah. I wish that mattered.
Yeah, I wish that mattered, and you're like, Jesus,
fuck, trillions.
Yeah, couldn't be me.
Nah. Get good.
Yeah,
it's fucking gritty on him.
But so you were talking about the scene that Hope has is it when she helps Scott get the
when they're going to get the core, and he's starting to. What is it? He's starting to lose or get tumbled, or no? It's
because what's happening is there's just so many.
He's starting to get swallowed in.
Yeah,
and she comes flying in, and
because what is it called? It's like a possibility storm, is what they called it.
Yeah,
or a probability
any
storm.
Movement, any thought you have creates a possibility of you being able to do something different, which creates a you to
another you.
Yeah, and so obviously,
you're inside Schrodinger's box, and you're the cat.
Yeah.
Is the cat alive or dead in there? Both until we open it, right? Because we don't know.
Yeah. And that was a cool scene. It was interesting to be able to see
all the different
variants, but they're all the same.
See the Baskin Robbins.
We do see the Baskin Robbins, and I love his character to death because he's just like happy.
He's
as
just
can
a
be.
dude.
Yeah, he's just like for Cassie, because that's the whole thing is he's able to get everything as a hive mind.
Yeah, because they all have the common goal of getting to Cassie.
Yeah, do it for Cassie.
Yeah.
So that was nice, and that is kind of like an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
I also put like a little ant twist on there, a hive mind, and
a swarm of ant-men.
Yeah. But other than that, like Hope,
she kind of rolls up and picks him up and like flies him into the core, and that's how they get in.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's about it from there.
Yeah.
But what about you? I mean, just from I've been talking a whole bunch. So
you're telling me. So I said, my bad, dude.
I'll knock it off.
I said there are no major consequences inside of this movie to justify the fear of Kang.
Yeah.
I know that he's supposed to be like the exiled Kang, right? Mm-hmm. So the implication there is like, well, he was weaker than the others, and they were able to kick him out, right? But still, like this guy just casually mentions that like he's killed multiple Avengers, including Thor, and then he just gets bested by Ant-Man. It's like, sorry, Ant-Man, I know this is your movie, but you ain't beating Thor.
Yeah.
And
the big scene where Hank does come in is, which is, going back to it, I wanted to talk about the one part I hated about the movie that was very spoilery. So they find the ship from Krylar.
Yeah.
They take Krylar's ship, and Hank's the only one that drives it, and Hank's the only one who knows how to drive it.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where they're all getting in, and Hank voluntarily says, I guess I'll drive. Motherfucker, nobody else
he
knows.
doesn't.
Yes, he does. He's sitting there because he puts his hands and he goes, I'm driving. It's like, yeah, nobody else is going to drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, nobody else. Who else is going to drive?
I thought you were talking about like the first time they get in.
No.
Because Janet literally is like, take the wheel.
Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't like that part.
I don't know. I was expecting something major, and you're like, I hate that he says he'll drive.
I was just like, Hank, you're a smart man. Nobody else.
Right, yeah.
All right.
He is, but the audience isn't.
I guess not. Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
But then the Hank, when he comes up in the very beginning of the movie, he has this ant colony that's very advanced and kind of has technology and like electricity running in their little ant farm.
Yeah.
And when they all get sent to the quantum realm, the ants go with them and get sent off. But then
they slip into like some sort of time vortex.
Yeah,
and they live. What does he say? Like thousands of years in the course of a day, right? And they're very advanced.
Yeah, and there's
a lot of them.
And they are the ones that really kind of take out Kang.
They kill Kang or defeat Kang.
Yeah, and then we see him up in the building all fucking
all tore up. None of his tech works. He's just been shredded. His shirt's all tore up.
He's just hand to hand.
He's got the muscles out.
He's got the mitts.
He's in basically a cutoff now, and you're like, my God,
this is Creed.
This is.
Michael B. Jordan comes out of the corner.
Yeah, Killmonger comes out. What the fuck is going on?
What is happening?
Scott's just watching two very large, muscly men beat the shit out of each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors is fucking huge.
He's yoked, man.
My God.
He is buff.
I sent a picture of him to my mom because I forget what brought it up, but I think it just came across my TikTok and it was like one of his covers for like Men's Health or something.
Sure.
And I was like, my God. And I sent it to my mom and she just sent back like, look at the muscles. She says, damn, look at the muscles.
That man is ripped.
Yeah.
Being able to see that, and then they ended up defeating Kang by that version of Kang.
Yeah, they push him into they suck him into his multiversal engine, basically.
Which doesn't kill him as far it does
necessarily. Well, so that's the thing is like the yes but no, right?
We'll never know until we do.
Schrodinger's box, right? Yeah. So if that somehow gets opened again, maybe he's still alive in there.
But I still feel like Marvel did a very Marvel thing of like killing him off, but now they have an excuse to be able to get away with it because there can be an infinite amount of Kangs. It's like it's still going to get old really quick.
Yeah.
But also I could see them thinking on this now, pulling he gets out of the multiverse after they have fought in a couple Kang, and it's like, I'm the original Kang now.
Right,
and I worry about that.
Yeah.
Because Kang's a really cool character, and I like the concept of him.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I could see, because at the very end, we do see the Kang Council.
Yeah.
Or calling all the Kangs together to talk, to, be like, this guy died.
Yeah.
I could see, like, if it does involve, like, just for example, let's say 5 Kangs pull up on Ant-Man, right? And he kills 4 of them, or 3 of them, or however many. I feel like that's fine, but like just having a one-on-one.
But I don't know, because then it's not, because it's like, well, then you're making the Kangs super disposable. You know what I mean? Because the whole impact of seeing a whole council of Kangs at the end is like
how powerful.
We saw how powerful the one was, right? So this is not good.
Yeah,
right.
He's the one who's been exiled,
right? So I'm going to read my spoilers like you asked me to.
Yes. Yeah. Why don't you do it? Go ahead.
I thought that Ant-Man might die or get stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And he didn't. Like, I think they missed an opportunity to kill off Hank and Janet, definitely, to give weight to Kang.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I thought at the very end, when the portal closes and you're stuck with Hank, Janet, and Cassie, on Earth, and you still have Ant-Man.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be that Janet or that Hope and Scott are stuck in the quantum realm.
I could have gotten with that.
Yeah.
I would have been down with it.
Yeah. So, like we talked about, MODOK's kind of a goofy character, as opposed to a killing machine.
MODOK, are you okay?
Yeah. His intro is menacing, like I said, with him wiping out that colony of refugees, like, single-handedly. And then he kind of just stops killing, turns into the joke, with, like, his name being Darren Cross, and they just keep calling him Darren. He's like, I'm MODOK! Like, and at one point, he won't answer the radio. He's like, Darren, are you there? Darren? And he's like, MODOK? He's like,
what you
what's
got?
up?
Yeah, what you got for me?
Yeah. Like, Jesus. I did mention Janet being
a tool.
Yeah, a tool. I said Kang's introduction when he's interrogating the Langs and is threatening Scott with, like, I'll murder Cassie in front of you and then make you relive it for eternity. And you're like, my God, until you beg me to kill you. And you're like, my God, what an animal. That's pretty fucked up, but I like it.
Effective.
Yeah, it was honestly the most menacing that I think we see Kang behave during the movie. Hank's super ants. Like we said, Kang has to jump down and just starts disintegrating people with his beams, just wiping them out.
Like no dust or nothing.
No,
like they're just gone.
Just disappear. I wonder if like he sends them through time. You know what I mean? Like is he sending them to the the end? What's that called? You know what I'm talking about? Where they send the people in Loki when they zap them.
The variants.
Yeah. When they prune them.
I can't remember. I don't think so, because they have a special gun for it, don't they?
Well, they've got their thing, but Kang is the one that created the TVA.
That's true.
Or a variant of Kang.
Could have.
So that technology
That's a good
exists.
Question. That's a good question.
I wonder if that's where they're going, because they do. They just disappear.
Yeah.
They're just gone. I did mention the plot armor like we were talking about. Like, there's a couple shots of that where like those beams hit Scott and kind of like knock him back, but don't kill him. It's not like he always misses, because that's okay. Well, I guess Scott's just really good at dodging. There's times where he gets hit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why did that just work one way and now it doesn't work on the hero?
Yeah.
Getting me all choked up. I did mention Kang beats the fuck out of Scott.
Yeah.
Hope comes back. Yep. And so luckily Cassie opens up a portal for them like right away and gets them out, which was annoying.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, like I don't know, like how was she opening a portal?
I will say in the just going back to the scene.
Yeah.
Again, something small.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was super fucking bloody when he was getting the shit beat out of him, and to the point where I was like, "This is bloody for a Marvel film. This is very bloody."
Yeah.
And then right after Kang, that version of Kang dies.
Yeah.
the blood that was around his mouth is just gone. Like it was never there.
Well, and so apparently, like a month ago, or earlier this year, there were some like reshoots that included Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, all of them, the whole core cast, which I'm thinking was like the dinner scene.
Okay.
Because I'll bet the intention was that Hope and Scott are stuck in the quantum realm, and then they reshot that to get them out. So it might have been a reshoot, and they just didn't put the...
For a Marvel film, continuity's like, you gotta have it.
Yeah.
But that was, again, it's not huge, but it was something I was like, you had me.
Yeah.
Like, because I thought, like, damn, this is bloody. This is getting
beating
good.
the shit out of this guy.
Yeah. And then it just went away.
Like you said about the 2 post-credit scenes, so we do see Ramatut, which he's like the Egyptian pharaoh version of Kang, who we did see like a reference to him in Moon Knight, so I thought that was kind of neat. Scarlet Centurion, which is like the Iron Man-ish looking one, and then Immortus, who's like the almost looks like a Genghis Khan or like that kind of conqueror type character. Just kind of discussing the death of the Exiled One, and they kind of just specifically say like they killed him, and then says they're close to touching the multiverse, and so like they're starting to get on the radar of like the people, like our MCU heroes are very close to being capable of like multiversal.
So we got to get on this.
So we got to cut them out because otherwise they're going to be a problem for us. And so that's obviously probably going to be the setup for Kang Dynasty. It's like the Council of Kangs do not want that to happen, obviously. And then the second post-credit scene is actually just a clip from Loki Season 2.
Yeah.
And it's just Loki and Mobius sitting in the audience of some like early 20th century, like, wonders of science, like stage show, And the man on stage is a Kang variant. And Mobius is kind of like, I think something to the effect. I don't remember the line.
Said this guy was supposed to be scary.
This guy was like some scary, like,
or
conqueror.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Loki goes, he is.
And he looks
terrified. So I wonder if he's had some run-ins with Kang, or if it's just because of his conversation with He Who Remains that he's like, we gotta
take him out.
And so I do wonder if the premise of Loki Season 2 is Loki trying to prune Kang variants, to try and get ahead of it. Or maybe he's looking for He Who Remains type figure that, okay, this is the one that we have to...
Yeah, we've
got to get him, in charge, right? And try and get, basically trying to stage an overthrow of the Kang that's in charge of the TVA now. Because the Kang that's in charge of the TVA looks like the Kang from Ant-Man, like with the helmet and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I wonder if it's another variant on that or what. I'm not sure how that shakes out.
I did have a question about some of the armor Kang had. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. But the one, he has like a blue face shield.
Yeah.
It almost looks like. But his eyes change colors with it. And he took it off once, and his eyes were still the same color.
And then fade away.
And then they fade away. I'm curious, does it do anything internally?
I don't know. I think that's supposed to be like a... like sort of like a containment thing of like when he like does stuff with time.
Okay. He's not affected.
Yeah, like keeps him in. Which I do wonder if that's what his beams, leads into, like his beams affecting sending people through time. Maybe, I don't know.
We'll have to touch back on that. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah,
that could be a cool thing, unless you know something that I don't.
No, no.
I say our theory was correct. Though,
correct.
Yeah.
Because my theory was that Kang would win, or like narrowly get defeated. You know what I mean? But obviously that he would like kill Scott, or Scott and Hope would be stuck, or whatever, and then the other Kang variants would come in and like cut him down. So we were like pretty close.
Well, yeah, we were on the right track.
Yeah, of like that the reveal would be the other Kangs, right? Because that's just the Council of Kangs is too big of a thing to not
talk about.
Yeah, and he's got so many variants that it's like, how do you not show like a Ramatut,
Right. But that's all I had.
Chris, what you been thinking about this week, buddy?
I think what you meant to say is, welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris. So this week we're actually going to be talking about the Goat Man.
The who now?
You heard me.
I didn't.
The Goat Man.
Goat Man. Okay.
So the Goat Man is a humanoid cryptid most commonly associated with Louisiana, Maryland, and Texas.
Oh. It's quite a wide spread.
It's a little bit of a big spread.
Yeah, Louisiana and Texas makes sense, but Maryland's just off as a...
They had an encounter, which almost makes me think if it's related to the Jersey Devil.
Maybe.
Something similar to it.
Yeah.
It's described as a 7-foot-tall hybrid creature, part man, part goat. Some claim it's relative to the New Orleans evil chupacabra-like cryptid, the Grunch, which is something I would like to talk about, because how can you not do a cryptid about the Grunch?
The Grunch.
Sounds like a gurgly lunch.
Yeah. I was thinking it's like the Grinch's cousin,
Grunch.
Grunch. Yeah.
The urban legend often tells of it killing young couples parked in cars, scouring neighborhoods, killing family pets, and there are also tales of it breaking into people's houses and just fucking them up.
Jesus.
And there are some stuff I'm not going to talk about on here that does kind of deal with some SA stuff that this creature is involved in.
Yeah.
But it does say it is known to just harass with people and its victims.
Yeah.
It says here that I'm just skipping the part that.
Yeah, about that.
SA. Okay. So some say that he was a man who kept goats and went mad after teenagers killed his flock. Driven to seek revenge against any youngsters, he covers himself with the pieces of the goat that the teenagers killed, and he's on the run. And that's kind of the whole thing.
Okay.
Another one, the most titling version, traces back to the origin of Beltsville Architectural Research Center's sprawling USDA facility anchored by a big brick building appointed with white columns is like where it's the Agricultural Research Center.
Right, yeah.
But they say it was a scientist who worked on diseases with goats and sheep, and when something happened, something must have went wrong, and he turned himself into a half man, half beast, naturally hungry for blood.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Couldn't be hay,
But it says here...
them goats like their man meat,
I love my man meat. You love your man meat. But another one that kind of is a relative to it, which I'm thinking is the same thing, goes back to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I'm curious if it's in, where was it? Maryland, Texas,
Louisiana,
and Louisiana. So maybe, making that connection there of just migrating.
Yeah.
But this one's called the Waterford Sheepman, is an abominable creature that terrorized a small rural town of Waterford, Pennsylvania. In the early 1970s, it lurked in farm fields, stalking the unwitting animal that it desired to tear apart. Hundreds of people witnessed the creature. It is also referred to as the Goat Man.
The Goat Man.
So what I'm curious, I really do want to find, because I'm just looking down, there's, ones that are called the Popelick Monster, the Proctor Valley Monster, and then there was one more I wanted to find, but they're all relating back to, calling it the Goat Man, going back to the Goat Man. So what I would really want to do, I would really like to go in, I want to do heavy research to see where exactly it's going, where the first one started, where the latest one is.
Can we track
I want to do a little police detective shit and go into it, but I thought that was a really interesting concept behind of just having the Goat Man of something could have happened and something like that, and just back in the 70s, which it's a while ago.
It's the 70s. Everybody's doing drugs. Come on.
Doing the family. But the 70s isn't that long ago, and we had cameras in the 70s, so I'm curious. I want to do...
It might be some MK Ultra shit.
Yeah.
Maybe the government made them.
Hey, the government were real weird with science back then.
Maybe they are.
They just keep getting weirder.
That's right.
Don't trust the government. It's a hoax, and everything they tell you is a lie.
Government's a scam.
But I really do want to, sit down and do a big research, because as I started doing this, I was looking at the cryptid, and I read it, and I got everything down. I was like, well, I think I'll do one about the Goat Man, just kind of given the premise of him. Yeah. But I think next week, with it being our
50 seconds, so it's not quite our 1 year.
Not going to be our 1 year.
Our 1 year will be the following week, because our episode will actually release I think the day before, the day after our literal 1 year anniversary.
Damn.
So our 53rd episode will be our.
It'll be fine. It'll be a good build up, because I want to continue to do research on this, and like I was saying, find the pinpoints, find exactly more.
Yeah.
Maybe see if I can find, because I was looking around for a little bit and I couldn't find anything. Just
already done.
Yeah, pre-searching.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can find the the noises or the sounds this thing makes, because I know you always like when I do that, and I thought, I mean, if there's this many accounted witnesses of them, you know,
there's got to be something.
There's got to be
Hell,
something.
even if it's made up,
right? Just give me something.
I can go.
That's the goat man.
That's the goat man out there.
But so I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. I think I found a gold mine before I realized it's a gold mine.
Yeah, you got into it and went, fuck, that was gold, actually.
Yeah, this is gold. I want to continue to do it.
Yeah.
I started to do more last night, and that's where I started finding the variations, like in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was getting kind of late, and I went to a concert, and I was pooped, and I was just like, all right, I gotta
call it. Yeah.
But so I do want to touch back up on this.
Yeah, do that. I'll hold you to that.
And then I haven't forgotten, there are still those 2 cryptids I got in the email about, because I was looking for the London werewolf.
Yeah.
That, you know, we had that email about. And then I just saw the goat man. I was like, it's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want in my corner. Yeah. But so after that, I do think I'm probably going to be touching up on the London werewolf.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been thinking about?
Apparently, Civ 7 is in development, which is exciting for me because I really appreciate Civilization.
And you and I play Civ.
Yeah, we played Civ 6. I've got, like, no joke, like 1,300 hours on Steam in Civ 5.
My problem is, like, I can't get my science up past a certain extent. Like, we just go dull.
Yeah. your Civilization's always just kind of plateau. They eclipse and then just go stale. I like my first game of Civ 5 that I like really got into and did well. I was in high school. And I played as Gandhi and I conquered the world. And like at one point it was unfair. I'm rolling across what would be modern day like Europe and into Russia, and I'm fighting, I think it was the Assyrians, and I had like modern tanks and they were firing bow and arrow at me. And I'm nuking cities that have stone walls, like, you know. And I was just like, I nuked them, and they gave me all of their cities in exchange for their like, let us just only have our capital city, and you can have everything else. And I was like, perfect. And so then I rolled up on them, and just, you know, when you make peace in Civ, I think it's like 10 turns that you cannot have any violent action.
So you just post up a bunch of dudes for 10 turns?
I just waited. And then after the 10 turns, I just had a bunch of Bradley tanks that just rolled in and took his last capital. And I was like, my God, I am an animal.
Just imagine Gandhi.
Yeah. Well, I love Civ. But yeah, I do. I always just think distinctly about people with bow and arrow firing at tanks. And I was like, this isn't
Gandhi,
good. And it's Gandhi. It's Gandhi just drunk with power firing nukes.
Massive pacifist is
I've got
just out
nuclear
for blood.
submarines out in the bay, you know, nuking the Greek Empire that has posted up in North America. Just
let us live. Give us our capital. You can have everything else.
You know, please don't kill us. Please don't make me. You know, it's Gandhi. Sons of the Forest comes out on Thursday.
It does.
Yeah,
that it does. I'm very excited.
You were getting ready to ask me something about Civ, maybe?
I was. What do they add in the new? Because I've only played Civ 6.
So
what do they? You know, I imagine it's probably going to be a little more updated as far as like
graphics and
modern
some of the
times, like drones. Drones are becoming a big thing. I don't think they necessarily had drones, so maybe giving that as an option.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a lot available about Civ 7, but like the difference between like Civ 5 and Civ 6 is like in Civ 6, there's that concept of like first of all of ages, of like the golden ages and things like that. And that wasn't in Civ 5, and then also the like districts, like building districts for specific things, that was new in Civ 6. So a lot of times it's just like different game mechanics that they try out and see what works.
Sure.
And they might keep it, or they might go, oh, that didn't really work. So Civ 7 might not have those districts or will, you know, just depending on
I like the golden age and the dark age. I like the concept of
that.
that.
Of like having to achieve greatness. And then if you get out of a dark age and go into a golden age, my God.
I do that a lot because I get a lot of dark ages in the very beginning. Then I'll hit a certain science and I'll hit a golden age, and it's
and just like, oh my God,
game over.
Boom, 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 boom. And then my last thing I'm thinking about, I'm on vacation this week, so yeah, I want to try and finish up Ted Lasso and Severance, which are both on Apple TV Plus. That I've watched like the first. Ted Lasso is shorter episodes, so I've watched like 6 episodes of that, and I really enjoy it. And the 3rd season's coming out soon, and so I want to try and finish that out. But then Severance is really good, but I've only watched like 3 episodes of it because they're, you know, hour-long episodes, and it's a bit more like Ted Lasso is pretty light. Severance is like, what's going on here, you know? And so I kind of need to take a different approach to watching that, but I want to finish that off. I suck at setting time aside for TV. I do. It's always been a thing that we talk about.
Yeah.
So I want to finish those up. But.
Side note, I'm not sure. So I got this thing, and it's like a poster of sorts.
Okay.
Well, first off, I want to talk about. I got a fucking picture, or it's a frame thing of it's
like a recreation
of the newspaper from when Neil Armstrong made it on the moon.
Yeah.
And it says, one large step. I think that's fucking bananas. I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But I did get this one, and it's probably placebo. But it says, it's just talking about nature of praying to like the nature god.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the giving tree, like sorts.
like the book.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But it talks about like
That's a good book.
It is, but it talks about allow us to see the value in nature, and I'm trying to get into that just because I'm trying to moderate my stress levels. So I'm trying meditation.
Yeah.
And what was it? The past couple of days, like we had a really nice day, and I did just kind of sit outside for a second, and just like when I breathe, I try to,
like really hold it in.
Yeah, and just try to be a part of nature.
Yeah, be present.
And it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels nice. Like, and if that's like a hippy dippy thing,
Yeah.
calm, peace, be with it, baby. But like, I'm getting behind it. And I think maybe, I don't know. I like to take some of that and run with it.
I've told you before that like you just in generally you need more vitamin D. No pun intended.
No.
You and the sun are not very close people.
Well, I feel like I get a decent amount of sun. I like opening up my windows and like getting natural sunlight.
With your blackout curtains that you don't open?
Well, like they'll flap, and it's nice to have that.
No, you need to open the blinds.
I said the window.
Sunlight.
I never lied. I said the window.
Yeah.
I do like the breeze. The breeze, I think, is what
makes
me feel rejuvenated.
There's a nice, cool breeze. Fresh air.
But that's about it from me.
Yeah. Well, then again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a great review and tell your friends about us. Yep. Obviously, word of mouth can be one of the biggest endorsements for us. So making sure that you're liking, following, subscribing on your audio streaming service of choice so that way you get notified when our new episodes are available. We try and make them available by 8 a.m. every Wednesday. So far, we haven't missed that mark. Going 50 episodes strong so far. Hopefully, this is 51. Chris, if you want to get in touch with us, give us some feedback, ask us questions, how do they do that?
Yeah, of course. You can always reach out to us, take a look at us on all of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, our Reddit, which is going to be Simply Whelmed Podcast. You can always take a look at our Twitter handle, which is going to be whelmed_simply. Yeah. Or if you want, you can send us an email, give us a review, give us any comments, concerns, worshipness at simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
Send us your prayers and we'll answer them.
Should we do like a prayer call? Do like a live call?
There are people calling with their prayers. And then we just... All right.
Oh, we talked about going up a weekend, you, Morgan, and I, to West Virginia to see the Mothman.
Yeah, go to Point Pleasant. Yeah.
We'll talk about that, too. I mean, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. If we did that, we could talk about that. Morgan and I have a podcast called A Couple of Creeps. Yeah. You've starred in a couple episodes. And
had the great pleasure, too.
Yeah. And I think that'd be a good opportunity for her and I if like to do that in the Couple of Creeps. Don't know what she's got for me this coming weekend, but keep your ears out for that. Yeah. She took the Valentine's weekend off because she wanted to really focus in on whatever this next one is, so it's got me excited. She said she really wants to focus down on it, so could be something good. It always is.
And we also talked about what's that prison?
The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Yeah, we'll spend the night there.
Yeah, maybe. It was spooky.
That would be spooky. I'd shit my pants.
I mean, to be fair, you'd shit your pants anyways.
You just tell me to, and I probably would.
You shit your pants, just do it.
I'm looking for a reason.
Yeah. Give me a reason not to, Please, someone stop me.
He's an animal.
Next week, we might talk about our experience so far in Sons of the Forest, maybe.
Yeah.
Or we talked about potentially doing like some of our favorite survival games, because you and I do play the shit out of some survival games. The following week will be all about the premiere of The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yes.
And then there are quite a few movies actually coming out in March that I'd like to see, so who knows what we get into after that.
I'm a Stubbs member, so let's fucking go. I think I almost have enough. I think I almost have enough points to get a free ticket to a movie.
Yeah. There you go.
So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because we got Creed comes out on the 3rd. We've got Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
I saw something. Oh shit! It wasn't
Dungeons
James.
and Dragons comes out at the end of the year.
Dungeons and Dragons look good. It was about Shazam. It wasn't. I can't remember who said it.
Peter Safran.
Could have been.
He's the other co-CEO.
He said that Shazam's going to be like the Deadpool of DC.
Oh, it was.
Was it James Gunn?
No. God damn you! I had it and then I had to think of it and I couldn't. The gentleman that plays Shazam.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know his name.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I saw that and I was like, that's pretty bold to say something like that.
Right. Yeah, because Deadpool's good.
Deadpool is really good and Deadpool is about to be rated R. So I mean, I feel like
and
there's a lot.
Shazam 1, I haven't seen, but my understanding is that it was better than it was a better movie than it did at the box office.
Okay.
But Shazam Fury of the Gods doesn't look that good. No. Like, the trailers aren't that exciting. But we were pretty underwhelmed with trailers for Black Adam, and then we're pleasantly surprised.
That's true.
So maybe it's a case like that.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see and talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's all.
Yeah, that's all I got, bud.
I'm finished. I'm pooped.
That's the end of the show, Chris. You tell everybody bye.
Bye.